Now back to those massive fish and bird kills in Arkansas. Up to 5,000 blackbirds just fell from the sky in the town of Beebe. This happened just before midnight on New Year's Eve. And then tonight, we're learning that some 100,000 fish have washed up on the shores of the Arkansas River, which is about 125 miles from where the birds fell. And joining us now by phone from Little Rock is Keith Stevens. He's the spokesman for the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission. Keith, Jackie Jarris also here with us. What is going on here? These are two very unusual circumstances.
Pretty strange things going on here in Arkansas. Unusual events that we don't often see. We do have fish die-offs from time to time. Obviously, this is a pretty large one, so it's got our attention. The birds, that's really unusual. We've had birds that have fallen out of the sky before, but not in this number.
And we move on now to tornadoes. One person was killed, several others injured in a series of tornadoes roaring through northeastern Arkansas last night. Forecasters say this will be an especially nasty tornado season, and we asked Ryan Owens to explain why. Ryan?
Diane, this season was actually off to a relatively slow start, about half the number of tornadoes we normally see by now. But all of that changed last night, and experts say what you see behind me, unfortunately, more is on the way. Mother Nature seems to be making up for lost time. At least 3 tornadoes hit Arkansas last night. One of them took aim at Lily Orrell's back porch, which now sits shredded in the trees. You were inside the house and that just came flying off and all the way across the road?
Yeah. And some metal off the house. Some on this side, some on that side.
Lily is 80 years old. She and her walker couldn't make it down the steps of her storm cellar, so she rode the storm out. So did her neighbor, Richard Morris.
I heard this roar. I started closing windows, and I told my wife, I said, get by the walls, get away from the windows. And that's where we stayed, and we thought we was going to go too. But fortunately, all we lost was our cars.
Experts warn this burst of twisters is a worrying sign of things to come. Meteorologists blame, in part, the cold, snowy winter. Now that spring is arriving, the moisture from all of that melting snow and the colder air that comes with it will inevitably clash with warmer winds from the Gulf of Mexico. Where they meet, usually over the middle of the country, more powerful tornadoes are too often the frightening result.
As the warm air is now beginning to intrude upon the cold air, the collisions between the two are going to create the potential for more and stronger storms.
Tonight, this storm is still causing a mess now in Florida. Heavy rains and, yes, still the threat of tornadoes.
Good morning.
Well, Meredith, good morning. It is a powerful line. As Eric just mentioned, we have right now tornado watches stretching from Louisiana all the way to western Tennessee until at least 10 this morning, probably on into about 11 o'clock. Behind the system, we've got blizzard-like conditions. Ahead of it, though, between the warm and cold air, that's where we look for the most severe weather. This morning, the strongest risk from Jackson, Mississippi, Montgomery, Alabama, into Birmingham. The risk extends all the way up into central Illinois for this morning. Rainfall amounts, besides the threat of tornadoes, we're talking about up to 5 inches of rain from central Mississippi on into Alabama. Back behind this system, very cold air is being drawn into the plains, and now we're talking about snow. Blizzard-like conditions, blizzard warnings for parts of the north central plains with heavy snow, anywhere from 3 to a foot of snow, 3 inches to a foot of snow with 55 mile-per-hour wind gusts in this system. Carl?